I did not want to make this video because, quite frankly, I'm pissed off. I'm just tired with this whole Attack on Titan. Because after the first season of the anime was really highly anticipated for me. Especially the way the last season ended. It set up things so beautifully. Like that last season was the end. The season three. Season three, it was the end of the second act. I set up the third act where everything comes to it so beautifully. The third act, like in the three acts, I'm in a complete three act beginning, middle, and end. So last season was the best middle part of any season I've ever seen. And now I come down to season 4, and it just diverges into nonsense. It becomes convoluted, and Isayama starts smoking. I think all the praises that he's giving, the thing claims to say because he started writing convoluted, self-indulgent mess. And I'll never talk about the adaptation of the story by Mappa. Like I'll never blame them. I'll never blame the animators and the studio because it's a production committee. Of what I know about Japanese animation, is a production committee that decided many of us, and they decided to use CGI because it was to cut costs, but it was just complete nonsense. So what is my major problem with this thing? It is with regards to, it's not just the season, it's not just the stories in the manga, but the total discussion around it. And I don't know, seeing these things happen, it made me lose my faith in humanity. And the main reason was that is because of the discourse around our main character Eren. And look, I never liked Eren from season 1. Like I was lukewarm to him. He blew me neither hot or cold. I never liked him. I don't know how I really felt about him, but I never seemed to like him that much. My best character in Attack on Titan was Levi. But somehow it breaks my heart when I see the way people react to him, people treat him. What it is, they just call him, they just label him a villain. And I'm not the only one who never liked Eren. Many people do not like him. And so when he starts, when he changes, when he evolves, and starts doing things that are morally questionable, people start tossing themselves about that. Oh, he was a psychopath all along, blah blah blah. And that was just annoying. That simple fact just annoys me to the brim. It makes me very, because you are judging somebody that you have spent time with, you have spent years of your life with, understanding, dissecting the character, and yet you cannot give him the benefit of the doubt when he attacks Marley, and you cannot give him the benefit. You just label him a villain. And then when I was watching the final season, and when I finished watching the final season, I was very complex. I was like, what is Eren's plan? Because I did not want to believe that he had just gone full cycle. And the way the story was presented, it was hard for me to believe that he had just gone full cycle. He has gone from the child that we knew, and he has just become full cycle. And many people were so quick to buy the many people were so quick to jump on the bandwagon of Eren being an irredeemable piece of shit, being a villain, being an antagonist, because they never liked him in the first place. And so when they saw a version of him that they liked, they just jumped that, and they started to convince themselves that he was like everywhere. I saw people, and I was searching on Quora, Reddit, and also people were writing long stories of how Eren was always a villain, was always a psychopath, was always a murdering genocidal psychopath all along. Check in this chapter when he killed those human traffickers, check in this place, was killed on. And that annoys me, because in order to feed your narrative, you are going through somebody's life, and you are cherry picking the moments that feed it. You are cherry picking the moments, the evil things I did in order to feed your narrative. Because when you go through his story, yes, there's a moment where he kills those human traffickers. Yes, there's his whole ideology of freedom and this thing. But you also skip through the many parts when Eren has shown compassion, kindness towards other people. So he has shown real concern towards other people. When he discovered that Annie was a female Titan, he could not transform. Because he could not really believe it. And when he discovered that Bertolt and Rainer is using, he cried, he shed tears. So he also has compassion, and it seems like that thing just flew over people's head, because they're too quick to start tossing themselves. They tossing themselves. Oh yes, Eren is like, because they found the version of him that they like, and they're judging him on it quickly. And one thing that I don't understand in this whole moral relatives, that's why I say he was convoluted and self-indulgent, is the character of Gabi. Now, let me start. I don't know. I've read the manga. Like I've not read the manga. I read summaries of it because, quite frankly, after season 4, I didn't want to spend more of my life. I just want to spend more of my life reading that nonsense. So I read the summary of this thing. So I don't know. I know the story bits, but I don't know how the characters will change. And to be fair, characters in Attack on Titan don't really change. Eren is the only character that's Eren and Reiner. Those are really characters who have the most character development in that whole season. Most of these characters, when you meet them in the beginning of the season till the end, they have not changed. So I'm going to start with Gabi. Gabi is a detestable piece of shit, and I don't know how anybody can say otherwise. Gabi is a detestable piece of shit. Forget about the fact that she was indoctrinated. She shows no remorse for her detestable actions. And the fact that the people of Eldia have not wronged her personally. They've never wronged her personally. Maybe Eren. But that's it. And then maybe people now in this world of moral relativism, and they say everything not is black or everything lives in the grey. They take that grey and then they apply it to Gabi. And I've seen people do this beautiful mental gymnastics. They say no, she was just we say what would she have done? She was just indoctrinated that the people of Paradise are evil, and then she have seen Eren kill her love friends and that. So you cannot judge her for being a literal piece of shit. And then those people look over at Eren and say no, Eren now is a villain because she has done antagonistic and morally questionable things. But okay, can you not apply the same logic that you have used to justify Gabi's actions, to justify Eren's actions? Because if it comes to shit, Eren has seen shit. Eren has suffered way more than Gabi has ever suffered in her whole life. Eren has suffered. So judge somebody on who they are now, not the Gabi. Gabi is a piece of shit. I don't care if she's going to mature into this thing and finally gain some this thing. I don't care if it's this thing, but right now she's a piece of shit. I don't just the fact that she killed Sasha. She's a detestable piece of shit, and that is it. Peace was never an option. And again with this whole Marley thing, they still apply that same moral relativity to it. And I'm like, you should not have, after watching coming to Attack on Titan season 4, coming to the final 2 acts of this thing, you should not have any question where your loyalties lie. There is no moral dilemma, and I mean it, there is no moral dilemma between choosing Paradise and Marley. Marley are objectively evil bastards. Objectively evil bastards, because you are, and then when you start justifying their actions, and that's in this thing of mental gymnastics, I find it so crazy. You start justifying the actions, putting the same moral, putting it in the grey, and then you refuse to give Eren any benefit of the doubt whatsoever. You refuse to consider that he's not just a genocidal measure doing it for this thing. He might have a plan behind it. Now let me go to why Marley are bastards. First of all, they are no better than the Elzans. To be fair, to be frank with you, if it was the Malians that if Yemi was a Malian, this thing, they would have terrorized the world. They would have terrorized the world the same way the Elzans terrorized the world. And case in point, they know the terror of the Titans, and so they defeat the Titans, and they founding this thing fleet. What did they do? Did they build an empire that prospers, an empire that fosters this thing because they know the terror of the Titans? No, they weaponize the Titans and they use it to terrorize other Titans. They use it to terrorize other people, other innocent people who had nothing to do with it. They take Eldians and then they turn them into Titans and set them in other this thing. They take children, indoctrinate and send them into this thing, and then they don't conscript Malians into their army. They conquer, they use the Eldians. They conquer nations, and then they subscribe the people into the armies to go and conquer other nations. And then you want me to apply some kind of moral relativity and this thing, like those people deserved. When Eren pummeled the military leaders, when you blew through the building and killed some Eldians, okay, that's why you can say no. But when Eren pummeled the military leaders of Eldia, and when Eren killed Taibu of the other family, of the Willy Tauba of the other family, those people deserved everything they had. Those people deserved everything they got. Because even the Taibu family, he was an Eldian that was part of creating the Malian Empire. So he could have created a world where because he was the one secretly controlling the empire from the beginning. He created a world, but where they keep away those things from the past, and then they work towards better things. But no, the head of the family that worked to King Freeze, him and King Freeze were just looking for their own betterment. So he was only looking for him and his family to be saved, and then he believed that all Eldians should be wiped out. But he's not also accept the gift. So when Eren kills a man, he deserves it. When Eren is the Warhammer Titan, it had to be done. I'll not say the woman deserves it, but it had to be done. Because peace was never an option. And no matter peace was never an option. And to me, the fact that people say, this thing, people use moral relativity when it suits the agenda. They take certain things and they apply moral relativity, and they say, no, this is in gray, and they look at other things as completely black and white, which is very inconsistent. And Eren deserved the benefit of the doubt. Eren deserved the benefit of the doubt. So if I go today and rob a store, people, am I automatically a thief? People start saying I've been a thief my whole life. Look towards my life. So, oh, this man borrowed this thing, he's not giving. He must have been a thief. He must have been a mastermind criminal all along. What will you have Eren do? No, seriously. What will you have Eren do? What will you have him do? Zeke's plan was going to punish people in the present and punish people in the future for the sins of their father. I don't seriously believe, and even though his plan is less violent than Eren's own, I seriously don't believe that children should pay for the sins of their father. The people on Paradise are innocent. The only reason Male goes to attack Paradise is because they have been warmongering for 100 years and have started to exhaust their resources, and so they need to sacrifice Paradise in order to remain at top of the war. It's just there's no moral reason, there's no moral justification for them to be attacking Paradise at this same moment. And this fact, the people in Paradise are innocent. 100 years later, and for all that this of Ezra's being wicked, it was King Fritz who stopped the war. It was King Fritz who overthrew this thing. Empire. He was the one who wished for peace. He took a vow of renunciation of war, so that the founding titan will no longer be used to flatten the world. I talk about this whole thing on Cycle of Change. He gave the Malians, and even the Elsian family that was behind the Malian Empire, he gave them a chance to stop the whole thing, but he's not doing anything. What will you have Eren do? Because I feel like, and this is very funny, people like to fool themselves that they are good people. Many people are not religious, but they like to fool themselves that they're good people. So they take this moral high ground, and then they are looking everybody at this thing. They don't offer help, and then they wish they judge people from this thing. They see somebody struggling, and when community and they start judging it, but they don't really offer help to do anything. Like somebody was saying that Eren shouldn't have taken the founding titan. What would you have done? What should you have done? You should have just sit there. The father should have just sat there, because the father has made a family on the island. He has just sat there, and okay, the father has to die for his sins and everything. But there are lots of innocent people in Paradise who do not deserve to die. So he should have just sat there, and then whether they liked it or not, whether Eren took the founding titan or not, Marley would have attacked Paradise and killed everybody without bats. And the people that they did not kill, they would have done into titans and used in the further wars. They have killed everybody. So, and I saw one of his comments like, Eren should have taken the founding titan, and the other people, they're pressing him, say no, give what we have done, give what be possible for you to elaborate, because you are not willing to contribute. You are just there to judge people and feel a moral sense of superiority and everything. You are just there to throw judgment, throw stones, feel moral sense of superiority. Contribute, you cannot contribute. Constructive criticism, you cannot give constructive criticism. You're just there to label people, and that's the highest thing. That says this thing made me lose my faith in humanity, because the same thing, people are only talking about Eren's actions. They don't talk about what led him to that point. And Isayama said that he was inspired for a manga where I've forgotten the name of the manga, where there was a serial killer. And he said that no, he said when people see the focus on the people he was killing, but they cannot say what war was he living in? What were the conditions that brought him to live in? They say, yes, Eren is a product of his war, more so than Gabi. So if you are willing to use moral relativity to try and justify or sympathize with the piece of shit, the detestable Gabi is the most detestable creature ever produced, conceived by human mind. God, let me leave it. And then you're not using to give Eren the same benefit. You're not using to understand where he's coming from and why he has to do it. It is immoral. I'll not argue with it. The rumbling is immoral. Genocide is immoral. But what will you have Eren do? And we're living in a world of Attack on Titan that is bleak. It is very bleak. It's even more bleaker than our world. So there are no easy solutions. No matter how Armin can sit down, be crying his eyes out, there are no easy solutions. This is not a comic book movie where superheroes enter, where aliens attack superheroes, save the day, and then bam, there are no consequences whatsoever of their acts. So what will you have Eren do? Seriously, if I would really like to get somebody to write me down a plan, or what will you have Eren do in order to save Mikasa and Armin? Because other than that, everybody on the island would have been dead. So I don't necessarily condone Eren's actions, but I understand them. I understand Eren. I understand what brought him to this point, and I don't quickly pass judgment. I don't quickly start labeling him a psychopath. And even though he's that and he does those things, I understand him. And is people lose their compassion in a G to jump on the moral high ground and look like this. People lose the ability to sympathize. People lose their compassion with other people. And to me, with all the pretentiousness and the self-indulgence, like many people miss the entire point of what Attack on Titan is trying to say. Many people miss the entire point, and they're disappointed with the ending, because in the ending it was revealed that, oh, turns out Eren was not just a mindless genocidal maniac all along. All along, turns out he had a plan in which would guarantee the safety of Eldia for at least another couple of 100 years. Turns out Eren had a plan to break the cycle of hatred, and they're very disappointed with that. Can you really believe these motherfuckers? A true hero, the only hero this world deserves. A true hero, or the only hero this world deserves. Quite frankly, Eren's plan was the only plan moving forward. Yes, he destroyed 80% of humanity, but he rid the world of the Titans, and he gave Eldia a fighting chance to fight. That means that he cleared the decks, because if the World Alliance had attacked Eldia with all that technology, with all their battleships, all that, this thing would have been a massacre, would have been a genocide, and people will not bat an eye on it. And people will not bat an eye on it because they'll feel justified all that killing devils and all those things. But as I've said, and as I've said it, like, the people on Eldia are innocent. And quite frankly, in my own moral belief, I don't believe that children should pay for the sins of their father. So Eren's plan, okay, 20% of humanity. He leaves, he destroys 80% of humanity. That is bad. But he still leaves people there. And those people cannot threaten Eldia. Now they have a choice. You can either leave Eldia in peace and go about your day prospering. You can build empires of prospering and all those things, or you can decide to attack Eldia again. And you know what? If Eldia, because the way they leave it, the people on Eldia are militarizing and that's to finish this thing. Okay, so if Eldia now goes on a warmongering path and they get destroyed, they will entirely deserve it at that point. So from this point moving onward, they'll entirely deserve it at that point if they go on their warmongering ways. They entirely deserve it. And this time now, it gives Eldia at least a fighting chance to defend himself and those things. But if they decide to go warmonger, if they decide to become genocidal magics, they'll merit any punishment that comes to them. Even 100 years they'll merit any punishment that comes to them. But Eren has done the main thing. He has done the world a great service, and that is ridding the world of all Titans. Now Titans cannot come against the world. People will no longer know the terror of the Titans. So we'll start sleeping, and as the terror of the Titans is the major reason why people hate Eldians. But as they are destroyed, since Titans will no more be in this world again, they'll slowly slip away from history and become legend and become myth. And the Eldians will be looked on, and subsequently the hate for the Eldians will continue to decline. And that is except if the people leave Eldia and start becoming Nazis and trying to control the world. At that point, they deserve any punishment that comes down to them. But in point in time, Eren is not the world that is deserved, because this world is, because you know what a Titan is. This is a bleak world, and what were you expecting? And to me, the ending is anything close to a happy ending that will ever happen, because it was either that, or either Eren destroys the whole world, or Eldia gets destroyed. So this one, what happens there, he has given them a chance. The same way 100 years ago, King Fritz gave the whole world a chance to stop the cycle of hatred. He has given them a chance to stop the cycle of hatred. And that is it. So people should understand. Rather than being disappointed, people should understand. Try and tell what this thing is. Try and listen to what the author is trying to tell you. And the author said that he was inspired by Watchmen, and from the movie Watchmen. If you know, in the movie Watchmen, at the end, Ozymandias, both in the comic book and in the comic book, he releases an alien, because in a war where the nuclear powers are fighting against each other, and if they continue like that, sure nuclear holocaust was going to happen. Sure what is going to happen. So what does he do? He unleashes an alien on a city in order to unify the world against a single threat. And Eren has done something similar, not quite the same, but something similar. And it's not just so simple, but he has given people a chance. To end the cycle of hatred. And the fact that simple fact flies over so many people's head is what really made me lose my faith in humanity. Because, like I've said, people do mental gymnastics in order to fit their narrative. People say, oh, things are moral. People use moral relativity in one issue and then look at another thing in black and white. They are not consistent. They don't have convictions. They lie. They want to feel superior. They take the moral high ground. They lack compassion. And that is just all. I have to say. I'm quite frankly tired. I'll watch the final season when it comes out, but a part of me died. That's it. I was still very naive. That's all I have to say. Goodbye.